Looking at some of the temperatures for the second consecutive morning, we've got wind chills, which are well below zero, some of the coldest air that we have felt all season. We were taking a peek at temperatures even earlier this morning. There were some spots in the Northeast, like Mount Washington, that had an even colder wind chill. But when we look at Minnesota and Wisconsin, almost as cold as Mount Washington, close to 40 degrees below zero. It's remarkable when we look at these temperatures because these have been what we've felt since about Sunday night, and they've persisted. Yes, a little bit of warming yesterday, but that cold air is locked in, and this is very important when we talk about this brewing winter storm that will have widespread impacts. For this second morning in a row, we've got cold weather alerts in effect, cold weather advisories. These are probably going to, after this morning, expire. And I think tomorrow morning should be a slightly better morning, a little warmer, but the cold air is still going to be around. It's going to shift, though, into the Northeast and New England.
Yeah, so us here in New York City, we are up next when it comes to those much cooler temperatures. And I mean, this is bitter, bitter cold. Like, it hurts to be outside for long periods of time. So I know that folks in the Midwest kind of used to this coming into the middle of winter at this point, but I mean, we've had a pretty mild winter when it comes to those temperatures so far. So, I mean, this is going to be, it has been intense for a lot of folks. And already starting off this morning, I mean, we're feeling wind chills in the negative 20s, negative 30s up into the northern parts of the Midwest. It's painful.
Well below zero, but we have that cold that's already beginning to creep in. For the first time in this event, we are now in single-digit wind chills for New York City, for Boston, for Burlington. So it is cold. We're beginning to see evidence, though. Look at those winds coming out of the south through the plains. That's going to be a mechanism that pushes this ridge of high pressure a little farther to the east. As a result, yes, some areas will get colder tonight. We could have some of the coldest, temperatures that we have felt along the 95 corridor later this evening. But don't ignore the fact that throughout the day, we're going to continue to deal with that cold air filtering in. So Wednesday morning when we wake up, it does still seem as if the focus is going to be through the upper Midwest, but these numbers, Bane, so much better. And you look at these and it's like, oh, we're above zero. Not that bad.
It's a win. Wind chills only -3. It's like a summer's day. It's going to feel like it compared to what we've been dealing with the past couple of days. And to that point, yes, we're going to warm up just slightly as we move into your Wednesday. So anything's going to be better than what we have. I mean, Wednesday morning we'll be in the teens into areas like Chicago. I mean, on top of this, too, the winds are dying down a little bit, but it'll still make it feel chilly. I mean, just a 10-mile-per-hour wind gust will hurt a little bit as we move throughout the next few days. But again, Wednesday morning, it'll stay nice and cool with those wind chills in the single digits.
Yeah, the wind chills are we're still going to be, below zero in a few spots, especially through the northern Great Lakes. But the 95 corridor, the interiors of the Northeast and New England, single-digit, even sub-zero wind chills. So that's what we're going to feel at least by tomorrow as we work into Thursday, and then perhaps by Friday, we'll begin to see a temperature rebound, but nothing compares to perhaps the cold that we'll see after Friday, as that Arctic air is going to invade, and we'll have a lot more to talk about on Friday, aside from the cold.
And you know what, let's talk about that next surge of Arctic air, because it's right behind this one. So a little bit of a warm-up, well, slight tiny warm-up, and then the cold returns. So it's leaving no time for the Midwest to really recover. So what we have going on is, again, we have that nice, cool air coming in from the Arctic. It's going to be rounds and rounds of this for the next, few days. And we'll be expecting that nice little warm-up like we've been talking about. And again, a warm-up, as I'm talking, is going to just be slightly warmer than what we have right now. It'll feel better than what we currently have, so anything's better than that. But, I mean, by the time we get into your Friday, those wind chills are back into the negative 30s, even the negative 40s for some areas like over into Fargo, North Dakota, Duluth, and Minnesota. We're going to be feeling it, especially into those morning hours on your Friday. So that cooler air, here's that second round that rolls on through. So the Midwest really doesn't have too much time to recover when it comes to those temperatures. On top of this, too, this could be some of the coldest air of the season that we end up feeling by the end of this week and into the weekend. So when it comes to that frostbite potential, it's going to be there. So if you are going to be outside for any reason, make sure it's not for long here, Stephen. I mean, by the time we get into your Friday morning, look at this, frostbite times. It only takes 10 minutes to start to feel those effects because of how cold these temperatures will be with those wind chills.
This is a pure taste of the polar air. For it to happen this time of year wouldn't be a huge surprise, but what we're talking about is potentially even record-breaking lows, which when you look at it from a historical perspective, this is some of the coldest air that we have felt in a long time. I think this ridge of high pressure that we're going to see settle in, especially on Friday and Saturday, is very strong. A stronger ridge of high pressure means that that cold has some staying power.
Right.
And with the way that we're set up here in North America, late January, early February, we often can have the coldest of the air in the Northern Hemisphere. So to have potential temperatures like we're going to feel on Friday and Saturday, extreme.
Extreme is a good word for it. I mean, even by the time Saturday and into Sunday, these are the wind chills, but the fact that it stays that cold for the entirety of the weekend, I mean, seeing these temperatures in the negatives, I mean, these are going to be potentially our highs for the day. Again, these are the wind chills, but it's going to be dangerous. I mean, even looking into Minneapolis, when we have that caution out there, we have hours at risk, 27. But take a look at this. Life-threatening, 41 hours in Minneapolis. They'll be under that, dealing with those extreme colds. That's going to be the feel-like temperatures, -25 to -60. That's going to be that range for life-threatening. And the fact that we're going to be under that for 60 hours or close to it, is scary. It can be really dangerous.
Any sort of exposed skin, I mean, you're talking about minutes that you can be out there, as you had highlighted. I mean, we are looking at this as being a prolonged thing, and I think when you talk about people who live in the United States, people who live in the north often more accustomed to cold winters and where we can have these types of temperatures. But even by the standards of those, this is going to be extreme cold. And you can imagine if we have this type of cold there, where it's not typically as cold, will also be feeling quite a chill. This is the most extreme, I think, Friday.
Yeah,
definitely. 47.
Oh my gosh, look at that. Yeah, no thank you. I'm already feeling cold thinking about it.
Well, cold air is going to be present. All we need to get wintry precip is lift and moisture, and it's looking increasingly likely that we're going to have a surplus of both. This is a concerning storm. It's not a storm that you want to be caught in for several reasons. One, it's going to be very, very cold. This air, it's straight from the Arctic. Second, this event's going to be prolonged. It's going to expand hundreds of miles. It's possible we could have an ongoing ice storm from Texas to northern Georgia. It's a sprawling system. We have a near classic setup with polar air meeting with Pacific and Gulf moisture. It is a recipe for huge impacts.